We have mapped the surface of Mars better than our own ocean floors.
We assume the age of monsters is over.
But history suggests otherwise. A US Navy destroyer attacked by an unknown force. A 1978. The USS Stein, a US Navy destroyer, was on a routine operation.
Suddenly, its onboard sonar system failed.
The noise was chaotic.
The crew assumed a mechanical failure.
The ocean guards its mysteries closely.
When the ship was dry docked, engineers were shocked. The sonar dome, a massive structure protected by a tough rubber coating, was shredded.
Hundreds of cuts.
Some were 4 feet long. But it wasn't just the damage. It was what they found inside the cuts. Embedded in the rubber were claws.
Teeth. Marine biologists identified them as belonging to a squid. To create that damage, it had to be aggressive.
But the deep ocean holds more than just giant squids.
In 2003, researchers in Australia tagged a healthy 9-foot great white shark.
They called her Shark Alpha. The goal was to track her migration. But 4 months later, the tracking device washed up on a beach.
When scientists checked the data log, they saw something impossible.
At 4 a.m. on Christmas Eve, the shark plunged suddenly down the continental shelf, 580 meters deep.
Then, the temperature of the tag spiked from 46 degrees Fahrenheit to 78 degrees.
Shark Alpha hadn't just died. She was eaten, alive.
But what eats a 9-foot great white? Experts estimate the predator had to be huge, like
March 1st, 1999.
The U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, picked up a sound in the equatorial Pacific.
It lasted for 15 seconds. It was loud. So loud, it was heard by sensors 3,000 miles apart. They named it Julia.
If this was a living creature, its size would defy logic. Based on the signal strength, the source would dwarf a blue whale.
Officially, NOAA suggests it could be a massive iceberg running aground.
But audio engineers argue the profile looks too organic.
Is it ice? Or is it a call from the largest animal to ever live on Earth?
Is it ice? Or is it a call from the largest animal to ever live on Earth?
We still don't know. Buena thing, no.
Not all evidence comes from sensors. Some comes from witnesses.
In 1918, crayfish fishermen at Port Stephens, Australia, refused to go to work.
They were seasoned men, not easily scared.
But they reported a terrifying encounter.
While pulling in their pots, they claimed an immense shark appeared.
They described it as ghost white. And the size? They said it was as long as the wharf itself, over 100 feet.
It didn't attack them. It simply swallowed their crayfish pots, cages and all, in one bite.
Critics call it a tall tale.
But these men lost their livelihood for days because they were too afraid to return to the water. Their fear persisted, day after day, week after week.
Not all evidence comes from sensors.
Some comes from witnesses.
In 1918, crayfish fishermen at Port Stephens, Australia, refused to go to work.
They were seasoned men, not easily scared. But they reported a terrifying encounter.
While pulling in their pots, they claimed an immense shark appeared.
Critics call it a tall tale. But these men lost their livelihood for days because they were too afraid to return to the water.
Many cryptozoologists believe this is the closest eyewitness account we have of a surviving megalodon. Finally, let's look at Japan. In 2016, during a deep-sea survey in Suruga Bay, cameras captured this.
Finally, let's look at Japan.
In 2016, during a deep-sea survey in Suruga Bay, cameras captured this, a Pacific sleeper shark.
But this one was different.
Analysis of the footage suggests this individual was massive, potentially over 20 to 23 feet long.
That is the size of the largest great whites recorded, but living in pitch blackness.
This isn't a myth. This is on video. An ancient giant.
If a shark this big can go unnoticed near Japan until recently, what else is hiding in the Mariana Trench, just a few miles deeper? The USS Stein proves something attacks ships. Shark Alpha proves there are super predators we can't track.
The NOAA recordings prove the ocean is louder. We once thought the giant squid was a myth until we found one. The deep ocean remains the final frontier. Maybe these encounters are just accidents. The USS Stein proves something attacks ships. And the NOAA recordings prove the ocean is louder than we think. Science requires proof, but the ocean is good at hiding its secrets. We once thought the giant squid was a myth until we found one.
We thought the coelacanth went extinct 65 million years ago.
until a fisherman caught one in 1938.